Right, today we're in for some deadlifts. I'm going to try and take you guys through as much of this session as possible. Of course it is the weekend, it's deadlift day. It's actually Sunday, we're not deadlifting on a Saturday anymore, just due to the fact that the split's kind of changed a little bit. Needless to say, the split will probably go back to normal. We will be back to deadlifting on a Saturday, but nothing really changes that much. The only difference with today's deadlifts is I am going back to touch and go. And it has been something that I've contemplated doing for quite a while now, but I've never ever did it. And I just really want to kind of see what's there. I went through that phase where I wanted to get very strong on a dead stop, and I did. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be continuing on with dead stops. I am still going to be doing a lot of dead stop work. I'm just wanting to kind of throw in a few sessions of touch and go and kind of get a little bit of a feel back towards it, because realistically I probably will bring it back in throughout prep at some point, so if I can get a feel about it right now. And anybody that doesn't really know, with a touch and go deadlift you are reducing the amount of fatigue that you're carrying throughout a set, so it's just really a case of maybe getting a few more reps on a heavier weight, but at the same time we are obviously taking into consideration that at the same time we're bodybuilders, we're focusing on obviously hypertrophy within training, so obviously we're wanting to grow. These will help us grow as much as dead stop deadlifts will help us grow as well. I would just recommend both of them, and I would recommend getting strong at both of them, but without rambling on much further, I will crack on with deadlifts. Whether I come back on the camera or not, I'm not sure, but we will obviously crack on with deadlifts. I do hope you guys enjoy this one. If you do enjoy it, then please do not forget to drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's crack on with deadlifts. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Light spot. So as you would have seen, we took 6 with the 300. Now, as much as I've never done 6 on a touch and go with 300, realistically I would have liked maybe between 7 and 10 reps. Confidently saying I will take 7 to 10 reps next session. As you would have seen, I went into the set sweaty, but I never thought it was really a big problem, so I just obviously went straight in. Realistically I should have put a little bit of chalk on. As you would have seen, my left hand, it just slipped and slipped and slipped. Pretty much my strap came off obviously with the sweat, but I got to the point where I was literally just like hook gripping it with my fingers, and it was just slipping by the rep, and if I went for a 7th rep it would have just failed, so I mean there wasn't really any point in doing that. Next week obviously I'm not going to go in sweaty, or if I do go in sweaty I'll put chalk on, feel much better. And the goal of 10 reps, I mean I am going to take the 10 reps eventually, whether it be the next session after that, who knows. I am going to take 10 reps, but I mean I'm saying that I'm probably going to take 10 the next session just because of how well it felt. It was hard getting the first rep up, but it's always the same for me anyway. I always find the first rep's always the hardest, and even on a dead stop I always get into my rhythm on the second rep. So when I done 320 for the 3, obviously that was on a dead stop. The first one, the initial first rep was very hard, second rep better, third rep obviously I had to fight it a little, but I was confident after the second rep that I was getting the third. So I mean it's the exact same with these sort of sets. It's just a case of getting the first rep out of the way. Once I got that first one, I mean It looked like a 1 rep max, the first one, but I obviously was able to take 6 reps. So next session we'll go for 10, but to make up for it, I'm going to do a back off set here of 260. We're going to pause it as well, a bit awkward with my light on. 260, we are going to back off for 260. I'm going to do paused reps. Now again, I've not done paused reps for so long, probably since last prep. We're going to do paused reps today, and I am going to dead stop it of course as well. With 260 we're maybe aiming for between 4 and 6 reps, obviously after the 300 for 6, but only time will tell, and then it will be time to hit the remainder of the back session. Good. 260 for 7. I think it was 7. It was 7.
Yeah.
That'd be a bit awkward if it wasn't 7. I kind of had 6 in my head because, I don't know, it was a round number and I feel as if I can get to 6 more than anything else. But once I pulled the 6, again that was very similar. After the first kind of couple of reps I got into my groove and things obviously started moving a lot better. And then obviously when I hit the 3rd, 4th and 5th rep, I knew the 6th was going to be there, but at the same time I kind of also had a feeling that 6 was going to cap it out and the 6th would have been the last one. But whenever I pulled the 6th one I was like, I really had to go again. Because as well I had my last set in my head, that it never went to obviously the kind of main plan that I wanted it to go to. So you kind of have that little bit extra aggression. And with everything, obviously the adrenaline and that when you're in the middle of a set, especially a big set, a top set on deadlifts always does it for me. Everything changes, you go away from everything, so to be able to obviously take the 7 was a decent enough set, but if I keep paused in which I probably won't, I mean, only time will tell again, nobody knows, but if I keep paused in then maybe shoot for 260 for 10 and I paused, I think that will be a pretty cool set. But in fact, without being very unrealistic, you guys who are watching this, drop a comment down below. What sets would you like to see? What goals should I set? Whether I set them, nobody knows again, but that's going to be it. Deadlifts are done for another week. I'm absolutely wrecked. I was just actually saying there, I feel as if I've popped something on like the left side of my face. I don't know what it is, but it's just very tight. But that's deadlifts for you. Prep's happening soon, so we can't really slack. We've got to come in a lot better than obviously 2020, so got to put everything into these sets. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let's hit some back. Right, so obviously as you would have seen, we went from deadlifts to a supported T-bar row. The main reasoning behind that is we have literally just loaded the lower back with absolutely everything. Usually I would go from there and probably do a non-supported row, such as obviously a T-bar row or a barbell row, but we have already trained back throughout the week. So as you guys all know, we do 2 back sessions per week. One of them basically consists of the harder non-supported rows, and then whenever I move into my deadlift session, it more so consists of obviously my deadlifts, and then that's why we moved to obviously a supported row. So realistically I would only move towards a T-bar supported row, and especially this one, Quite random as well because it is my primal strength, but it is actually one of my favourite T-bar rows. It is actually quite heavy, but you can adjust the positioning of the handles. So realistically we can hit it as more so a low row, and it feels very nice. But we're going to be moving on to machine pullover next, and then realistically we will be moving towards more so your kind of pull downs and potentially another row, but we'll just have to wait and see. It will be pull downs next. Right guys, so getting the most out, obviously these they're pretty much mag grips. I mean, they're like primal strength version of mag grips, so we'll call them mag grips. We went from a medium grip and we're going obviously towards a close grip now, just really because again it moves back towards me doing back in the middle of the week. We done mostly wide grip stuff, so obviously changing it up a little bit and focusing more so what you could say on maybe the thickness of back throughout this session, obviously with deadlifts and things like that, and obviously the grip variations that we are doing. We're not really focusing that much on the width side of things as much as realistically this is going to improve the width side of things as well. That's one thing that I feel that a lot of people do overcomplicate a little bit, what you do towards the density and thickness side of things, and also what you do towards the width side of things. If you hit your back from all angles and you hit your back with a lot of different grip variations, you do your big heavy pulls, you do your big heavy rows, your back is going to grow from a density standpoint, and it's going to grow from a width standpoint as well. So don't overcomplicate it too much, just fucking get in the gym and just train. That's realistically what's going to build a physique, and obviously not what's going to allow you to overcomplicate things and then just fuck everything up and not make any gains. The main things that I always like to finish off my back session with a very much isolated exercise in the form of something like pull downs or even pullovers, depending what you want to call them. Depending what angle you hit them at, you could always hit them at a pullover variation, or you could hit them at obviously a pull down variation, but today we're going to do them at a pull down format. So I always use either an EZ bar or a straight bar, simply down to the fact that when I use a rope, I always lose connection on one side. And it's just because either the rope slips or one side starts maybe compensating for the other side. That's probably something that you guys should watch out for, just in case one side does start to take over. You will know whenever it starts feeling a little bit off and a bit odd. So that's why I always stick with a fixed straight bar or an EZ bar. And again, it allows me to obviously not have to compensate on one side, not have to focus on the rope going to one side, or not have to allow my focus to go anywhere else but stay in the set, because that was something I always used to struggle with, was just I always had the fear of one side taking over. So we're obviously sticking with the EZ bar today, and then this is going to finish back, and then we've got arms to do, and that'll be us. So guys, immediately post session, 2 scoops of your finest chalky biscuit rapid recovery. That's obviously the one that we're running right now. Successful back session taken today. I believe I covered most of the session within obviously the video, that is, just so I can kind of more so get into depth a little bit more throughout the session over just maybe doing a voiceover, or maybe coming on the camera after the session and covering what happened within the session, or even at that just putting obviously music over it. Now I do have a funny feeling that the video is going to get demonetized just down to the fact that the music was so loud, and it probably did pick up quite a bit of music, but obviously we did have the mic on today, so I do hope that that helped a lot. But at the same time, I'm just going to wrap this video up right here, guys. I've got nothing else to really cover. We will be having obviously my rapid recovery right now, waiting 20 to 30 minutes before the next meal, and that is going to be it. So I do hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have enjoyed it, then of course please do not forget to drop the like for me, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all in the next video.